feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Hi. I don't know what happened. My song cut off.
I don't know what happened. My song cut off.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Can you
How
hear me?
are you? I can hear you good.
Okay, no echo from my end?
No.
Okay, great.
That's perfect.
Good to see you.
You too. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
Good. I'm doing pretty good. I'm having technical difficulties with my camera on my laptop. It's like my face is all washed out looking and there's lines in the screen.
I see the lines, yeah.
Yeah. And I was trying to figure out, like how to go in and reset the settings on the camera, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that or not. So I don't know if it's an internet problem or if it's a problem with the camera.
Oh.
But I have everything turned off basically that I even think could interfere with it. So I don't know what's causing it. It's very strange, but it's been doing it for a while. And I've just been trying to get to the bottom of it, to try to figure it out.
Right.
Anyway, welcome to our show and thank you so much for coming. I'm sure we will have people dropping in as time goes by. Not everybody is punctual as we are, so may take them a little while. I see a couple people already. Mm-hmm. Always Loyal and Roxanne are both here with us, so that's great. And I just have a lot of questions to ask you. I am also a recent retiree. Mine, however, was due to an injury, so I retired actually at like 53, 54. But I just turned 60, so this is my journey into becoming a senior citizen. But I know that you're recently retired and that you moved to Florida.
Yes.
So I would love to hear how you chose Florida and just a little bit about all that. Hi, Kristen.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I just got tired of work, and so I retired. I had been working for the same company for 40 years.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was like one day I just kind of was like, I told my husband, I was like, I'm done. I'm just, I'm just done. I don't want to do it anymore or whatever. So, and I think I was 58. And I had been thinking about it for a couple of years anyway, of being just done with the job. So I retired. I think I was like 58. And I have one son and I have one grandson. He's 10.
Okay.
Right? And so they all lived with us. But then when I retired, I, you just kind of start thinking about what do you want to do with your life, and everything. And so I got bored. I thought I had a plan. First off, I thought I had a plan. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. All of that didn't work out. And then I had worked for so long that it was like I wanted to do something. I couldn't just stay at home and not do anything. And I thought I still had a little kick going on. So, so I started doing Uber Eats with my grandson one summer, and we had a ball, him and I, delivering food.
Oh, okay.
And I had a friend that lived in Florida, and I came when she had gone on a 3-week vacation to keep her dog.
Oh, okay.
And I'd been to Florida, a few times in my lifetime. And it was like, I really like it. And I like the weather and I like the warmth. And so I'm originally from Kansas. That's where I was born and raised.
Okay.
And then I moved to Seattle, Washington.
Oh, kind of dreary there, isn't it? Kind
But,
of
but
wet.
at the time, out of about a year out of high school, I went there to visit, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Compared to Wheatfields. So, and then my family, my parents and all my siblings, 3 years later, they moved to Seattle. My dad sold the house and they all came to Seattle. So all my adult life has been in Seattle, Washington. And then 3 years ago, my husband and I decided, if he was here, he'd tell a different story probably, but I decided that I wanted to come to Florida. And so I told him, I'm going with or without you, but I'm moving to Florida. He loves that part, okay?
Yeah, okay.
He told me, I'm going with or without you. You know how you get, when you get 60 and over, you kind of just
exactly.
I'm
Then
gonna do
it's
what I
about
want to do.
you. Yeah, right.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay,
So that's how we got to Florida.
Okay, so let me ask the question then. How long have you been married?
Okay, there's a story behind that too.
Okay.
My husband and I have been together for 23 years. And we have been married for 2 years. We got married when we came to Florida.
Oh, okay.
And it had nothing to do with him. It was all me.
Oh,
I had been married, and I had my son.
right.
And it must have been something going on in my head. So it's just like we were together and it was like we were always married, but I never wanted to do that again, sign that piece of paper.
Right.
And again, you get older and you start thinking about things and stuff. So it was, and he just kept at, that's what he wanted. And so when we got here, we did it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Kristen is saying Kansas. She lives in Kansas now.
Wichita, Kansas. It's where I was born and raised.
All right. Yes. And welcome in everybody. Savannah, Norma, PJ, Pastmaster. Welcome in everyone. This is Miss Yaya, and I met her in Cajun Roots Resellers chat.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was so unusual that we all know someone that goes by the name Yaya, and then my name has Best Life in it. So I was like, oh, there's a connection there. Let me check this lady out.
Yeah.
And I was so glad that I did, because I am trying to meet people who are in similar situations in their life, that I am.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my friends are still working and won't retire for a few more years.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I feel like, I'm kind of the odd man out because I don't have to do the things they have to do as far as with the job.
Right.
And I have free time to go and do things that they don't have. Right. And so it makes it a different kind of lifestyle. Absolutely. So after you got to Florida, and you don't have to say what part of Florida, but I will tell you, I am in South Georgia. I am like 25 miles to the Florida state line. So I am almost in Florida.
So of Jacksonville, north?
I'm
north.
Okay, I'm in the middle of Georgia, but right, like I would go from where I'm at, the closest in Florida would probably be Lake City. I'm like 2 hours from Jacksonville. Okay. I go from Georgia and I go across. It's like 2 hours to Jacksonville.
Okay, well then we're not that far because I'm in St. Augustine, Florida. So I'm like you're about 45 minutes from Jacksonville.
Right, you're not far at all. And I actually think going to St. Augustine might only be like an hour and a half from where I'm at. I know it's a straight shot 2 hours to Jacksonville.
So the end of this month, we are taking a road trip to Savannah, Georgia.
We have somebody in here, Savannah, and she lives in Savannah, Georgia.
Yep, to a meet and greet, a gardening, because I done started gardening. So I've been in the gardening community too. I'm in everybody's community. I'm always tipping around YouTube. That's the fun thing about YouTube. And I'm sure you're going to have a question to me about how did I get on YouTube. But yeah, so they're having a meet and greet.
Hey, Harold. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're having a meet and greet the end of this month, so we're going to go to that in Savannah, Georgia, and it'll be my first time in Georgia.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm about 3 hours from Savannah.
Okay.
So you're going to go down from where you're in Florida. Well, let's see. You're in Jacksonville. You'll be going up. I'm not sure how far it is from you, but it's not that far.
It's like a 2.5 hour drive for us to Savannah.
Harold says, can't hear, the sound is off. Check your sound, Harold, because everybody else, can you hear us? I think they can because they've been commenting on what we've been saying. I'll make sure everybody can hear us okay. I'm pretty sure. Let's see what he says. Everybody's saying yes, they can hear.
Okay, good.
So check your sound, Harold, on your end. Savannah says, what a treat getting to go to Savannah. Savannah is very beautiful, very beautiful there. Yeah. And to do a meet and greet. So you're going to get to meet people you've been talking to that you haven't met. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah. My first meet and greet was, I just had a birthday. I just turned 65 a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And we went to Miami.
Yes.
And stayed in Miami because we wanted to go to the casino down there in Miami.
Okay.
And there's a lady that I've been chatting with on YouTube, and she lived we were in Hollywood, Florida, which is 10, 15 minutes from downtown Miami. She lived in that same town. So that was my first meet and greet since I've been on YouTube, because we were able to connect with her. And both of us are Pisces, and her and I connected. It's just, we connected just like that,
Right.
We had a really good time. Yeah. So.
Hey, Ark Wildman Survival. I just recently, I came to YouTube in the true crime community. Okay. And I just recently have started branching out to some other areas. And that's where I'm starting now to meet a lot of people that don't go in the true crime community. So it's been fun for me, to be able to meet different people and talk to different people. But yeah, if you don't mind, go ahead and tell us how you came to YouTube, because I'm sure that's an interesting story.
Moved here to Florida, and I was just living my best life, going to the beach practically every day. I just thought that was the greatest thing going. And my husband works nights, and so, we were able to do things during the day as well. And anyway, my son called, and he's like, Mom, he kept calling, Mom, what are you doing? Mom, what are you doing? He never thought I would leave him. He's grown, but I mean, kids.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, nothing. And not that I wasn't doing anything. It's just like, to him, it was like nothing. I'm just sitting at home, just chilling, having a nice time. He's like, well, I want you to go on YouTube and I want you to look up mukbangs. I was like, what the heck is a mukbang or whatever? And by the way, what the heck really is YouTube? Because I really hadn't been on YouTube.
Right.
And I had a Facebook and everything like that, but I didn't really know that much about YouTube. Well, come to find out, I did have an account. I don't know how I had gotten it, but I had an account. And so I went on YouTube, and he told me some people he wanted me to look at that eats food. So that's what I did. And I was like, oh, so I kind of got hooked on watching mukbangs, people eating and stuff. And he says, you should do that. You should do that. And I thought, well, I like feeding my face. So, that might be something I could do or whatever. And I just started, like I always do, started kind of researching and just watching different people and stuff. And then I started doing little stuff on the side. I hadn't tell my husband yet. I started kind of saying, is this something I could do? And I got my little tablet and started writing stuff down. And then about, 8 months or so after he had mentioned it to me, we finally, started the channel and just went on and started eating. So I have been doing mukbangs for like about a year. And I will always be a mukbanger because that's where I started.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But eating all that food all the time, I was tired of eating all the time, that was the only thing. But it's so funny how things work and how God works, because becoming on YouTube, starting out as a mukbanger, led me to all of the things that I thought about when I retired, that I said that I wanted to do.
Right.
And it was gardening. It was learning new recipes and, doing things in the kitchen. So it wasn't so much about really eating. It was about doing things in the kitchen. Go back to canning. When I was a little girl, my mom, that's what she taught us. So doing, I'm kind of going back in time, and all the things I learned when I was a child, I appreciate them now as an adult, and I want to do them.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway. So now
that's the beauty of YouTube. You can do whatever you want to do. Absolutely. Well, that's how I feel. I mean, you can continually recreate your channel and just keep growing and keep finding things that are interesting to you. And most likely, if it's interesting to you, it will be interesting to other people, as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I also felt like, with my age and everything, that I had something to offer, or that I wanted to give back of all the years of things that I'd done. And I like I said, I was at my same job for 40 years. And I was always in a position of motivating others. And so that's what I'm kind of doing. I do interviews on my channel now. Mm-hmm. I have my couple days that I do my mukbangs. And I have my days that I do my interviewing. And now I'm on this changing my eating, how I'm eating.
Yes.
And so for the month of March, that's what I'm doing, no meat and kind of going plant-based. And so it's I have been led down the path of things that have always been in my head.
Right. And I went through a period after I retired that I realized I knew how to do my job. I knew how to care for my child and my family. I did not know how to care for myself or love myself.
Yes.
And so that's been a lot of my journey, has just been to realize that you have to take care of yourself or you won't have anything to take care of anybody else with.
Yes.
And that's a very hard concept for me, because I guess I felt it was selfish to do things just for myself. Yep. Now that I'm retired, I'm divorced almost 8 years, and my daughter is grown, married, has a baby. So I pretty much can do what I want to do for me. And then I never thought I'd start a channel myself. I met someone, Miss Norma, who's in here tonight, in the true crime community, and she wanted to have a craft channel. And she knew nothing about YouTube. I knew nothing about YouTube either. And I said, well, I don't know anything about it, but I've got time. I can try to research and figure things out. And I can try, I said, I used to work on a computer. I'm sure I can, figure that kind of stuff out. And so I was going to help her do this craft channel. First thing she says to me is she doesn't want to be on camera. I'm like, I'm not sure how we can do that with you not ever being on camera. And I wasn't sure how we would, rig up the camera to show her doing the crafts without showing her, Right. So, but we thought we would try it anyway. Well, as time went on, we decided that because both of us are older ladies, we have been through almost every situation you can think of between the two of us. And we said, well, let's make a channel and try to help other women coming up so they don't have to go through some of the heartache and pain that we went through.
Yes.
And so we started the channel named Real Life Happens. Well, with Real Life Happens, every time we tried to go live, real life would happen to us, and we would have technical difficulties, and we didn't know what we were doing, and we had trouble, and it was just a big mess. But we finally, worked through, got all the kinks out, worked through it. Then it became a time where I had my granddaughter in the daytime. Miss Norma had her 2 grandchildren she's raising in the evening, and we couldn't really find a good time where both of us could go live and concentrate on doing the channel.
Right.
So we posted a lot of videos and we were trying to figure out, how we could do it. Then Miss Norma got sick. She had like bronchitis. Then she had upper respiratory. Then she had to have back surgery. Then I got sick with pneumonia. So it was like we just kept kind of putting it on the back burner, putting it on the back burner. So in the meantime, I started up my dog a channel, just to have fun and still get better at doing the channel and doing the videos and all that. And then I decided, well, when I was going to turn 60, I said, well, our other channel is more or less for women of any age, and not really men. It's more geared towards women. And I said, I'll start my channel and I'll do just people turning 60, going into seniorhood, and I'll share stuff about retirement and health and, things like that. So now we have both channels up and running. And so we've been kind of trying to do stuff on both of the channels and trying to get people that are on sub to my channel to be sub to that channel. And then sometimes we'll go live on her channel or we'll go live on this channel. So it's been a process, but it'll almost be a year coming up. I believe we figured it out. It's in May. We will have had the other channel for a year.
Wow.
And we had this one for like 3 or 4 months.
Oh, wow. You guys are doing well.
Oh, and Norma says, just letting you know, I ordered me a holder so I can do my crafts. Great. Because she really wants to be able to film what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And Packmaster says it's always friendly, relaxed, good vibes in here. And I don't discriminate of anybody of younger than their 60s. Some people are like, oh, I can't come because I'm not 60. Yes, you can. You're going to get to 60 one day.
Absolutely.
Or older. So you can. And then I had one lady, I said, oh, well, if you're over 60 or over, then you can be in the 60 club. She was like, you trying to say I'm old? And I'm like, no, not everybody qualifies to get in that club with us. So Taskmaster wanted to know, what was the name of the casino in Miami?
Oh, well, first, okay, so the casino that we went to is the Hard Rock Guitar Casino. But they have several other casinos there, and we did not know that until I met the other YouTube lady. And we'd gone to Tampa since we lived in Florida. The first year we were here, we went for my husband's birthday. His birthday is February the 1st, and my birthday is February the 21st. So we went for his birthday, and then we went a couple weeks later for my birthday that year. And that's a Hard Rock casino as well. Well, then my husband through work had found out that they have this one that is shaped like a guitar. Mm-hmm. Or the hotel is shaped like a guitar, and it truly is. And so that's where we went. We didn't win no money there because it was too fancy and all that kind of stuff. She took us to a little smaller hotel. We won there.
Oh, okay, cool.
So there's several casinos in Miami.
Magic City Casino, Mesquite, it's MICCOSUKEE Casino and Resort, and also a Hialeah Park Casino.
And the one we went to was called Dania. It's a small casino. It was in Hollywood, Florida.
Well, I have only gambled at a casino one time, and it was on a cruise ship, and I only had $10 in quarters, and I lost it in the first 10 or 15 minutes, and then I was bored after that. So I'm not too good at gambling. I love to play bingo, though.
I do too.
And I think I would really like to gamble if I knew more about it.
We used to go to.
You got to have some strategy.
We used to go to Vegas every year for our birthdays.
Mm.
We would just go once in February, but it was for both of our birthdays. We did that for several years in Las Vegas. And then they started building casinos in Seattle. And I was like, because I used to always tell my husband, oh, thank goodness we don't live in Vegas because we'd be in some serious trouble. Well, then they started building casinos in Seattle. So, you just got to monitor and manage yourself or whatever about it. But yeah. But we had a good time in Miami. And that was really nice what he did. He picked us a nice place to stay, and he wanted it to be a memorable 65th birthday. So he calls me I'm older than my husband. And so he calls me his little senior citizen. I said, shut up.
There is nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
On this channel, we say age is just a number.
Absolutely.
It's all about how you feel. If you feel younger, if you act younger and do things to keep yourself going, then you're younger. You're not, I mean, I think a lot of people have the idea that once you hit in your 60s and I did kind of myself, like, oh, well, when I retire, what will I do with myself?
Right.
I never realized I would have so much time to actually think about what I wanted to do and to do things just because I wanted to do them.
And like you said, especially as women, if you get married, or whether you are or not, or if you have children, we kind of give our lives up for a good 20-year period.
Right.
And, I had my son, I was in my mid-30s. So prior to that, I had fun. I did a lot of traveling. The company I work for, I travel personally. I got to do a lot of things. And then when I had my son, it was like I just stopped everything. It was about that, because that's what my parents did for me. That's all that I knew. I was supposed to raise this child, even though I had gotten divorced. I was supposed to raise this child, and that's what I did. And that was all the way up to prior to me moving to Florida.
Right.
So, I had spent a good almost 25 years just doing for my husband and for my son, and then he goes and have a child. So I had started helping in that aspect too. So just like you said, you can lose yourself and not know even what color you like anymore.
No, exactly. And when I moved into the apartment I live in now, it was like I didn't know what I liked, what I didn't like, what I would want in my home. It was almost like I had, even though I feel like I made a lot of decisions in my own life, I still don't think it was a consideration of actually mentally thinking, what do I want? What do I like? It was always almost second thought after, well, what did, let me make sure everybody else has what they want, what they need, and take care of everybody else. And then if there's anything left, I'll do it for myself. But I would never buy myself anything or like treat myself to anything. And it was almost like I felt like I didn't have permission. And it like hit me one day. Who do you need permission from?
Yep.
It's you. You do what you want to do, But now my daughter, she was like, whoa, you're changing. You're not, and I said, I'm not. I am changing, but not for the worse. I still love you. I'll still be there to help you and with the baby and all of that. But guess what? I forgot about me all those years ago. Yep. And now it's time for me to remember, hey, I'm a person too, and I've been having a ball. And some days she'll come over and I'll be talking to somebody on the phone that I've met here on YouTube, or texting with somebody, or watching somebody's channel or whatever. And she was like, you know those people? And I'm like, well, yes, actually, I do feel like I know them. I've talked to them. I've seen them, I may not meet them in person, but I think you can still make connections with people, whether you ever get to meet them in person or not,
And we're old enough to have learned, and we have the experience of, and I tell other people this, of setting our boundaries with people.
Yes.
I understand about YouTube, and there's a lot of negativity about YouTube, but I look at it as the same as the outside world. You can get in as much trouble out there as you can. It's your choice who you choose to be in your environment, in your surroundings. If I go to a channel and it's all about crap or whatever, I don't need to, why would I stay there? If they just gossiping, if it's wet and I don't like gossip. I don't like that.
I don't like drama. And that's what
exactly.
happens in the true crime community. There is a lot of drama, and it's wasted time and wasted even mind space of these people who don't like certain people, and so they want to say this and say that and analyze this person's life and that person's life and all that. I don't have time for all that.
No.
You know, I'm like an open book. I am, what you see is what you get with me, pretty much.
Same here.
And you know, I
don't want living our best life. We don't.
That's right. And I don't want anybody who's going to sit there and bring me down. Exactly. You know, I'm trying to uplift myself as well as other people. And it, like you said, live my best life. I had somebody make a comment. Oh, are you living your best life? Well, yes, I do believe I am, you know. Yeah. I mean, it's not for me to explain to somebody else if I am or if I'm not, you know. But I guess they thought I had the wrong title of my channel or something. I don't know. And then I've only had one comment that I felt was nasty. And I still don't know, because I asked everybody, you know, what should I do about this? Because I feel like this comment was not necessary. And they said, well, just, you know, tag the person and say, hey, you know, can you explain your comment? Well, I never heard back from the person. So I really don't know if it was directed at me or if I took it wrong or, you know, what it was. But I try not to look at the negative, you know, things too much. I get a lot of good, positive feedback, and that's what I like, you know.
A lot of people are very judgmental, and I don't care if a person has $5 or $5 million. If you wake up in the morning and you're feeling good and it meets your own personal requirements, then you live in your best life.
Exactly.
I don't have to have $1 million.
No.
You know, my thing is I want to get up in the morning. I want to be happy, and I want to do things where I feel like that I am giving back in a way to someone. Even if it's going to the grocery store and I'm smiling at someone,
right,
I'm living my best life. When I go out to the beach and I spend my few hours out there, and my husband hooks me all up and put the umbrella up and everything, you know, I got all my little stuff that I have to have because I sit out there for a few hours or whatever.
Right.
And I sit there and I just look and I reflect. That's my meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And I watch the families that come in with their children, you know, and I just think about my life and think about how I came. And now I am more appreciative to my parents and for their struggle and for what they did for us. When I sit back, I just have time to do all of that now.
Right. And don't you find comfort in those memories that you have from your childhood? I lost my dad when I was 18, but even in 18 short years, I have so many good memories of him as my dad that, you know, it doesn't matter that I only had 18 years of memories. There's so many that, you know, when I'm feeling down, all I have to do is remember some of those times and realize, you know, how blessed I was to have a dad, even for 18 years.
Yes, absolutely.
I would have loved to have had him much longer.
Mm-hmm.
But 18 years, I feel like I got what I needed to get from him in those 18 years.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times especially when we're working and raising our families, we don't have time. I mean, we barely have time to remember, did I go to the bathroom today?
Exactly. You're exactly right.
And, you know, like, you just have so much going on.
Exactly.
And now to be able to just sit and think about things and not have to have your life so full of activity that you're like, I can't catch it. I can't get my breath. You know, it's like I'm constantly on the go, doing this, doing that. I mean, there are some days that I have a lot of things to do in one day. And then there's other days where I'm like, you know, I really don't have to do anything today if I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know,
we have rushed for so long. Like I've worked for so long. And when you know, just in the rat race, that's what makes people sick. You know,
yeah.
And well, let's see. When we moved here, I had some health things that was going on and stuff, and it scared me. And everything's not totally 100% over, but along with that, it also made me think, you know what? You better sit back and relax and enjoy yourself right now. I have the opportunity to call people, to visit with them. I can't do everything, but one thing I did learn in all of this is I finally learned how to set boundaries. I didn't know how to set boundaries. Even though I was a pretty smart cookie at work and everything, and I thought I knew it all, not really. No, I didn't, because I didn't know how to really set boundaries. I let people take and take and take and take from me.
And I didn't want anybody to be upset with me.
Yeah.
I would bend over backwards and do whatever I could, you know. And I find it's the hardest people to set the boundaries with are the people closest to you, because they are so used to you being a certain way. And when you stop being that way, it's like, wait, what do you mean? You know, and I think I finally found my voice as far as I can say, no, I don't want to do that, or not today. This is not today, or whatever. And it's taken time for those people to realize, hey, she's right. You know, she has her own life. She can do what she wants to do. And I'm also not the kind of person that if I call one of my friends and say, you know, you want to meet up for lunch on Saturday, and they say, no, I'm busy, I don't be like, well, what are you doing? What's more important than having lunch with me? You know, they're like, okay, cool. You know, maybe next Saturday, you know, or whatever.
Absolutely.
But I've had people do that to me. Like, well, what are you doing? Why can't you change your plans? Well, gee, because this person asked me ahead of time, like a normal person would do. Wait till 10 minutes before they wanted me to do something. You know? And I've almost got my daughter broke from, she'll like call me and tell me something's going on instead of saying, can you keep the baby so I can go do blah, blah, blah. But she'll like go through this whole thing waiting for me to say, do you want me to keep the baby? I could keep the baby so you could do that, you know? And so when she starts it out, I'm like, do you need me to watch the baby? Well, you know, if you're not busy, if you're not, well, what is it you want to do? Is it important enough for me to watch the baby? Well, yes, this, that, the other. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll keep the baby. But also when I had my daughter, I was not young. I didn't have her till I was almost 35 because I had fertility issues. But I mean, I still was young mentally about being a mother because I knew nothing about what it was going to be like or anything. And I didn't have any family around me to help me or anybody like that. And so I had to do everything. So when she got pregnant with her daughter, I said, you're not going to have to go through all of those things like I did, because you're going to have somebody to ask questions. You're going to have somebody to help you with the baby. You're going to have somebody you trust to watch, or, you know, those kind of things. But I almost set it up so it's so easy for her to just say, here's the baby. And now we're 19 months into it. And it's like, I'm trying to make her realize, you know, this time right now is not going to be here forever. You know, she's going to grow up. There's going to be not too long. You're not going to be able to pick her up and carry her around like you do now. And so it's almost like, slow down. I know you've got a lot. You work and you've got a husband and a house and friends and this and that, but slow it down just a little bit when it comes to your child, and realize that this time is not going to last forever. Don't be like I was, that I blinked and she was 10, you know, and it's like, where did those 10 years go? What did I, you know, I can't remember a thing, you know? Right. So, and I kind of guess I'm the same way now that I'm retired. It's like when I have the baby, I focus in on the baby because I know this is precious little time that's going to be gone.
That's what I do. Even, well, most of the stuff that you're saying, we have had the same experiences. Maybe it's been at different times or years within our life, but I've gone down all of those same paths as well. But one thing for me, moving here to Florida, that helped between me and my son. We were already at that. It was time for me to sever that, because I was a mother that was all in, always been all in or whatever. But, you know, once they get making their own decisions or whatever, I was always getting my feelings hurt, and it was time for me to figure out how to remove myself and let him. I had taught him all that I could teach him at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was time for him to go ahead and live his life.
Right.
So that was not my reason for moving to Florida, but it did help in facilitating the change within our relationship from me being a own hands mother to me being his mother, but being a good listener to him and not always being there to help all the time. And
right.
he has his son.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to learn how to do it all on his own as well. And he
Right.
calls, and I'm here, and I've learned to, a lot of times my name is Carla. And a lot of times I talk to myself and I'm like, when he calls, just be quiet. Don't say anything. Just let him roll it out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if he needs something, he's gonna get to it or whatever. Sometimes he'll just talk or whatever and hang up, but then he'll call back, and then I get the real story of what it is. But I already know that it was something behind it anyway.
Right.
But he's doing really well, and the both of them are doing really well together. And I'm really proud of how he'll be 30. My son will be 30 pretty soon, but I'm really proud of what he's done for himself and for his son.
Right.
So I had to learn to just move on with my own self.
Well, and that's how it is now with my daughter. I don't ever try to tell her what to do or how to do or anything like that. Most of the time she'll ask me, like, what do you think about this? Or how should I handle this? Or what should I do? And then I'll tell her, and then there's simple little things that I think she's not paying any attention to me about. And then all of a sudden I'll see her implementing them with her daughter,
Yes.
and then her friends will say, I can't believe your daughter just goes to bed when you say it's bedtime and you put her down and she goes to bed. Well, that's because we've always done that with her. Mm-hmm. She doesn't know at 19 months, she doesn't know to say, no, I don't want to go to bed. She just knows that's what she does. That's her routine.
Yes.
And my daughter now will look back and she'll say, I'm so glad you told me they need to sleep in their own bed. They need to have a bedtime,
because it feels so good when your kids come back when they get grown and say, kind of tell, because they can give you hell for a while.
Talking to the wall, like they're not even hearing you at all. And then, too, like sometimes I'll get to feeling like, well, gosh, does she even appreciate the fact of everything I do?
Yes.
And then she'll do something nice for me or something. And I'll be like, oh yeah, see, she does appreciate me. But then she's a school teacher. And so
my son is too.
Oh, really? What does he teach?
He's in he does middle school. I don't know exactly what all, but yeah.
My daughter's does third grade math and science.
Okay.
Yeah. But all of her teacher friends, they have to pay daycare because they don't have a mama that is available to watch them, And so they'll say, do you realize how much money your mother is saving you, just by you not having to pay daycare, plus not only to mention that your baby's being raised by your mama,
right.
Other than a stranger at a daycare, but still just, and she'll just be so happy. Like, oh, they're all jealous. They are all so jealous that I have my mama, and then too, when they want to go and do something, she's like, well, just a minute, let me call my mama, see what my mama's got going on, And then I'll say, sure, I'll keep her, whatever. And I like to let her spend the night because then I don't have to get up so early in the morning, when my daughter has to go to school. So it's kind of like, yeah, let her spend the night with me and then we could sleep late.
And you know what? It gives us the time to all the things that we know, because the society that we live in now, there's so many things when we were younger that I'm just giving my opinion, that I feel that the young kids of today are losing out on. The way we were raised, how it was. Right. I understand it was a slower pace back then. I understand technology is making everything go really, really fast. But there's things that you and I'm sure a lot of people in the chat, I feel great when my grandson calls me and stuff, because It gives me the chance to talk to him the way I want to talk to him. It gives me the chance to say things to him that teach him the way about certain things that I want him to hear from me.
Right, exactly.
You know, and people did that with my son. They used to always tell him, why do you know about this or you know about that? Because kids in his own age group, they did not. Their mothers were like 20 years younger than I was, or 15 years younger than I was. I was teaching him because I came up in the 60s.
Right.
So I was teaching him on a whole different level.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, I think there's a lot to be said for having your children later in life. Like you said, you had plenty of time to do what it was you kind of wanted to do before you had kids.
Yeah.
I wasn't enjoying my time because I was trying to have a baby. And, you know, I was suffering those 10 years. I wish now I could have looked back, had a crystal ball and be able to say, enjoy those 10 years because it's coming, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know that. But then at times I would feel like, wow, I am like the oldest mother, you know, in this kindergarten class.
That's how I felt too.
Has, you know, 20-year-old mothers and I'm pushing 40 or whatever.
Yep.
But my daughter doesn't, she never has thought of me as being an older mother. Now it's funny, my ex, he's 8 years older than I am. And she'll say, Daddy is so old. And I'm like, yes, Daddy is old, but I'm right behind him. I'm going to be old too, you know. He's like, no, you'll never be old like Daddy's old. I'm like, okay, that's good, you know. But I think a lot of it too is because I did take so long to get her that I didn't want to miss out on anything. And I really talked to her like she was a person. You know, I never did the little baby talk stuff. I always just, you know, you're going to have to be with me and do what I do. So I would just teach her everything, you know, as I went. And there's so many things that now it's coming back like, oh, who taught you that? You know, and she'll say, well, you did, of course. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I did teach you that, you know. So it's really good. And then her husband, he lost his mama when he was 5. And so he kind of got shuffled around. So he doesn't really know what it's like to have the relationship that she and I have, or really to have a family. So they're trying to figure it out with their daughter and how they're going to raise her and all of that. But one thing he has never, ever said, you spend too much time with your mama, or, you know, you need to spend time with me and not your mama or anything like that. He knows how important that relationship is to my daughter, to where he's like, boy, I wish I had that myself, but I'm glad you have it, you know? So he's always been really good and really respectful of that time. And I would always say, well, especially after they got married, don't you think you should go home and see your husband? It's like, you know, you don't need to be with me all the time. Well, yeah, I got to come check on you. You know, I'm like, well, I'm fine, you know. But thank goodness she was right there with me through my divorce and all. And she was 17. So she was old enough to know how our life had been before the divorce, and then how our life was going to be after the divorce. And a lot of times I had to catch myself because I would be relying on her, leaning on her. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're the mama. She's the teenager. You know, you need to handle this better, you know. But I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have her to help me, you know, navigate through all that. Let's see, we got some more people coming in. Bling, hello, Bling. You guys are just having a big old talk over here about Savannah. We got one person that lives in Savannah, and then somebody else has been there to visit. That's great.
I see. Yeah, someone said there is a new place. There is new places on the River Street now, and I think that's kind of that River Street. I think when I looked at their website, the people that's hosting this, that's where our events are going to be at somewhere.
Oh, that'll be really nice. Yeah, because the pier is right there. You know, I mean, the boats come and go, and it's really nice. It's also, Savannah is also known for having haunted places. for having ghosts. So there's like different tours you can go on and go walk through these, I guess, neighborhoods or houses or whatever. I've never been, but that's always something I've always wanted to go do. But then I don't know if I would chicken out at the last minute.
No, I'm too scary. I'm tell you that already. I'm too scary.
You know, I really want to do it, but I think I'm afraid, so I don't know that I would. But so how did you wind up do you resell stuff as well? Or you just go around to different channels?
How did it probably was a day that I tried to, well, there was a time, I haven't been doing this so well lately, that I was trying to keep myself really organized with YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a day that I would just go around and check out other channels. And I think that's how I found that. I always have going to antique stores and secondhand shop stores and stuff.
Right, me too.
And so when I found that, I just kind of started, I don't know, looking at them or whatever. And somehow I found Cajun.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I found you guys.
Yeah. I went to a bingo and met somebody in the bingo and then went to their channel and then met other people from their channel and then started going into other people's channels. And then before you knew it, I mean, I have so many people on my subscribe list that it's like constantly something's popping up. Somebody's on, doing something. And so I bought some things from these resale people. Mm-hmm. I haven't actually, I don't want to sell anything, but I do like to see what they're selling. And that kind of thing. And then on the Cajun thing, I was like, they were just so welcoming. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh, you want to get on the calendar, and I was like, oh, okay. So I got on their calendar, or whatever, but it's just really nice to find that kind of welcoming, people. So.
And I was going to say earlier, Norma, mm-hmm. that there's and she probably already knows, there's a really big crafting community out there. And I have quite a few crafting people in my YouTube family, and I'm a part of their families as well with crafting. So there's a big crafting community out there. The lady that I interviewed this past Thursday, she's not niched herself to say I'm just a crafter. She does other things as well, but mm-hmm. she is extremely good with crafting. And so I watch a lot of crafting channels as well.
Now, it was funny when you said you got into the plant community. Before I used to live in Indiana. I was born and raised in Indiana. And when I got married, I moved to Georgia. And when I came to Georgia, the climate in Georgia is so different than in Indiana. I couldn't seem to grow anything. Everything I tried would die because it just, I was thinking in Indiana what you do, and you don't do that, in Georgia. So I actually found a Facebook group who would give you little starts off of different plants. And they would have these meetups like once a month, and you would bring whatever little starts you had, and then people would just swap. And so I ended up getting probably 10 or 15 different plants for nothing. Oh, I just had to keep them alive, And so I really got into that. So I have my house plants, and I love, learning about plants and mm-hmm. plants that help you not be stressed. And what I'm going to do a video about, I did one before, but I'm going to do it again about what plants are poisonous to animals and children, mm-hmm. and things like that. But when I saw that you were doing your little herbs and everything, and I just did an herb video, and Norma was like, I think I'm going to grow me some herbs this mm-hmm. year. And I was mm-hmm. like, Yaya's growing herbs too. Yeah. She's doing that. Yeah.
I'm a part of a challenge that this one gardener has. He's really, really good at what he does. And he put a challenge out. And so I joined in on the challenge, and it was to plant 5 herbs It started February the 1st and it's going through June the 30th. And all we had to do was plant 5 herbs, and we have to drop 2 videos a month on the 5th and the 25th showing the progress and the growth. And his deal is, well, when you see, he has property, and so he just got stuff growing all over the place. But his point is he wanted people to learn to start growing their own food.
Yeah.
And so he's starting with herbs, and he's going to pick the winner. And first it was only going to be one winner, and they would win $200.
Oh,
wow. Then someone else in the gardening community, donate's not the word I want. They sponsored, if you will, and she sponsored $150. So now there'll be 3 winners.
Oh, okay.
$200, $100, and $50.
Oh, wow.
But it's really not about the money, winning. It was about, he wanted to get a number of people growing their grow your own stuff. Yeah. And even though I'm here in a condo or whatever, girl, you should see out back. I said the HOA people probably gonna come. I told my husband, I hope they don't come knock on the door or whatever. Because the HOA, they like, you got to stay in your little square. And so my pots is sitting past the little patio, the little cement there, because I got so much going on out there or whatever. But nobody has said anything yet. But they growing.
Yeah. Well, that was my thing with all my little starts that I got. Now I have plants that grow really fast, and it's almost like you have to prune them in order for them to keep growing. But yeah, then what do you do? So I plant little plants all the time, and I try to give them away to people, and my daughter has some of her teacher friends. I've given them to them. And the one lady the other day was saying, both your plants are still alive. And I was like, well, you must be watering them, because last year she killed everything. I had to give her new plants like 3 or 4 times because she kept killing them because she kept forgetting to water them. And I said, how hard is it to make a student be responsible once a week? Water the plant. It's not that big of a thing.
Put a sticky on the mirror in the bathroom. We always in the bathroom.
And I mean, I have all different plants, but I water everybody on Sundays. It's just easier for me to remember, do it all one day. And I think the plants adapt to that, because I have some plants that are only supposed to be watered, more than that or less than that. And they're all kind of like, hey, she's coming Sunday with that drink of water. Y'all just have to deal with it until, Sunday. But I have a little Norfolk pine, like they sell at Christmas time in the little pot, like about a 4-inch pot. And you're supposed to be able to grow those big enough to be like a little Christmas tree on your patio or something. So I bought mine for $4.99, and it was like 4 inches. And now that thing is, I don't know, 2.5 feet tall or so.
Wow.
And so probably this past year I was going to decorate it, but I felt like it was so frail looking, like I didn't want to put ornaments on there and have it hurt it.
Like,
so I told it,
Brown Christmas tree.
You gotta get, toughen up a little bit, toughen up those branches, because I'm going to decorate you next year. But I have that plant that I did buy. I have a peace lily that I also bought like in a little 4-inch pot. That's now a big, beautiful peace lily. I have another plant that I can't even remember the name of it, but it was at the grocery store. And it was on the, like the last chance, like it was almost dead. And I said, well, I think it was like $3.99 or $2.99 or something. I said, well, I'll try it, I'll take it home, see what I can do. And now it's pretty big, tall. It's a tall plant, but I just love
the joy of retirement.
Yeah. I mean, I
to play with stuff.
Yeah. I just love to see when they do well, then it's like sometimes my ex-husband's wife, she also is into plants. And so whenever I see her, she's always like, oh, here, take this one home with you. Take this kind, get a start off of this one, or whatever. So I have more than enough plants. I don't need any more plants, but then again, if the right person comes along with something I don't have and wants to give it to me, I'll be glad to take it. Let's see. Oh, yeah. She said she has a brown thumb. She can kill a cactus. Well, that's pretty bad, Savannah, here in Georgia, because cactuses grow really good in Georgia.
Oh, funny.
A matter of fact, I had this weird cactus that just grew and grew and grew and grew. And come to find out, it was the kind of cactus that they actually put the colorful cactus on, like you might see them at Walmart. It'll be a little green cactus, and then it'll have like a red or yellow cactus on top of it.
No.
And those colored cactuses, they don't have any chlorophyll in them. So if they're not attached to a green, something with chlorophyll, they would die.
Okay.
So really, the green cactus isn't really for anything other than to hold up and to give the chlorophyll to the colored cactuses.
Oh.
Well, my little colored cactus died, but the little green cactus was still there. So I let it grow. Well, it grows in these huge pieces, and it just keeps growing and keeps growing. And nobody knew what kind of cactus it was. And it's just some like really generic standard kind of cactus that they put those little colored ones on. But I had it and I tried to get rid of that so many times, and people were like, no, I don't really have any need for that, and it wasn't like a pretty cactus, or, it didn't like have spines on it or stand up, it just would grow these like limp little cactus thingies or whatever. I finally ended up getting rid of it because I said it grew too much and nobody wanted it. It was like it's ugly. So I'm like, I don't want that. She says, I put a plant in with the cactus that needed watering more than the cactus and watered it too much.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, that does happen. You can kill your cactus if you give them too much water.
Yeah.
But I just moved mine back outside. I had brought them all in for the winter. And the day that I brought them in, I had left some on the patio because I tried to bring one of everything in the house so that I would at least save one. Mm-hmm. And doggone if it didn't freeze that night. And so the other stuff I had left on the patio died. So now I have to go through the process of cleaning all that out. But I did get the plants back out to the patio. So that's good. Now it'll probably get cool again. I'll be mad then.
We've been having rain today. I don't know if something came through or whatever, but it downpoured.
It rained here too.
Yeah.
I go to the Y to go swimming for my form of exercise. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I bet I'm not going to get to go because it's raining. But sometimes if there's like thunderstorms or lightning, they won't let you in the water. But if sometimes I've been in the water and it started just sprinkling and they let you stay in. So I kind of figured they weren't going to let me. So I went in the hot tub first. Then I go out there to the pool and the door was locked. So I said, oh, I guess they do not want us swimming today. So I didn't get to go swimming. But I try to go at least 3 days a week.
Oh, good for you.
I swim a little bit. I'm not like a good swimmer, but I can save myself if I had to, but I like to go in the deep end and just tread water.
Yes.
And that is really, you work muscles you don't even know you have doing that.
And there's a pool here. I go over there and I walk the pool.
Yeah.
And there's I've met some other ladies over there, and we just, be in there walking the pool.
Yeah. Well, and that's what if I haven't been in a while, I'll start out just walking in the shallow end, do that for a couple of days and, work my way up. But when the weather's nice, I try to go 3 days a week. They do heat the water and they have a big tarp they put over it, like a dome, so that you can go all year round. But when it was like 30 or 40 outside. It wasn't the water that was cold. It was getting out of the pool and getting back inside the building. That you like, okay, I'm going to have icicles hanging off of me when I get, So I didn't go very often over the winter months because it was just, too much. Let's see. Yeah, Norma is in Ohio.
Oh, okay.
So she said it's still really cold there and gloomy today. Yeah, I'm ready for spring. Other than we have pollen everywhere. Is there a lot of pollen in Jacksonville?
I don't think so.
Not really. Down here, it's like everything has a coating of pollen over it. Like your car, your patio furniture, anything.
It might be. I don't really go out a whole bunch. I mean, not that I'm a recluse or anything like that. I mean, I just don't. Well, after we went through what we went through for the 2 years, so that helped me home. You know what? I got here in Florida a day or two or day before everything shut down.
Oh, no.
Otherwise, my husband would have been here by himself. I came right after my birthday 3 years ago.
Right, because it was like mid-March when everything.
And then when the airports I just had made it here. And to be honest, I really didn't even know nothing was really going on. I mean, I watched the news and stuff, but my husband's aunt, when they had a going away party for me before I left Seattle, she travels a lot, and she had mentioned to me, make sure you take this, this, and this. And I was like, dumbfounded. And so then she was saying what was going on or whatever. And I go in my spurts. I watch the news a whole bunch. And then when I feel stressed over it, I just cut it off and I don't watch anything at all. I mean, if the world is going down or whatever, somebody's gonna have to call and let me know, because I wouldn't know. Okay.
That's how I am. But you know what? It's funny because that's how I started watching YouTube, because I didn't have regular television. I had like Netflix and Hulu, and and I said, it just makes you scared. Like you don't know what's going on, and somebody said, oh, well, go on YouTube. You can watch news programs on there. And so I did. And then I also found out I could watch the true crime stuff on there. So really, if it hadn't been for COVID, I would have never known about YouTube probably. So I mean, it's good as far as that goes. But with my daughter being a school teacher, it was a scary time for her. And then even when they went back the next year, she had one class in person and one class virtual. And then the next year, it was up to the parents whether the parents let them come back or kept them out. But she did have enough kids to have two classes. She has two classes. In the other class, they teach them the reading and writing and that kind of stuff. And then they switch, and she does the math and science. So she was able to have two classes going into that third year. But she did not like teaching virtually. She said the students didn't really get as much out of it as in person. Mm-hmm. And a lot of parents didn't know what to do with the kids, and didn't know how to help them, and didn't really know what the programs were, or, so the kids were kind of like, well, if mom says I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it. So now she's seeing kids that are like on a kindergarten and first grade level because of those. A lot of kids miss like 2 whole years of school.
Absolutely. That's what my son says.
Yeah.
That's what he talks about a lot. He says the kids are totally different now, what's happening. So I homeschooled my son for about, all of middle school. And then by then he was like, I want to go to high school. And I was done with dealing with him anyway. So it was like, okay, so yeah, but I homeschooled him. He went to elementary school, and then I homeschooled him middle school. Middle school is a weird time or whatever. And then he went to high school. So I say that to say, yeah, you have to, you have to have your mind really structured to run your household and be teaching your
Homeschool,
kids.
yeah.
Yeah, doing that.
And there's just a lot. I think kids they need that social interaction with the other children. And like my daughter says, teaching them math and science is like, maybe 10-15% of what she does. The rest of it is teaching them how to be good human beings, and how to behave in a group of other human beings, and things like that. And she'll say, boy, some of these kids, they act like that they've never heard this concept of be nice to someone.
And they probably have not.
And it's like she'll say, I don't know why you boys can't just be nice and get along. And next thing you know, they're over there trying to punch each other, And she'll be like, come on now, we don't punch our friends. You don't do that.
But I grew up in a household. I mean, I grew up understanding that before it was supposed to be that it's not supposed to be the teacher's responsibility to teach that kind of stuff. It is their responsibility as a teacher to a certain extent. You're supposed to learn everything you're supposed to learn at home. Exactly. It's your parents that were supposed to be teaching you how to be a good citizen. And then when you went to kindergarten or whatever, you knew not to do the things that you just said about the hitting and all that kind of stuff. You might have wanted to do it, but you knew that that's not something you were allowed to do.
But these kids, I mean, this is her fourth year, I think, her fourth year of teaching third graders. And I mean, she had third graders who stole the Chromebooks from the school. She had some kids who brought stuff in to like trade with other, like stuff that belonged to their parents, to trade with these other kids for stuff that belonged to their parents.
Yeah,
and, one of them had like their Xbox, and I don't know what they were trying to get, in lieu of the Xbox, but that was, to them, it was perfectly okay to do that. And she'll talk to parents and they'll say, well, they never brought that stuff home. And then the parent will go look in their room and find all this stuff, that the parents should know about that they don't know about because the child never gave it to them. They kept it in their room or whatever, Hey, mystery skies. So, it's things like that, just, she would have never done as a kid, especially with me as her mother, she would have, she knew how to behave herself. So it's just strange, some of the things.
I was not no believer. This is my house. I'm the one that paid the mortgage payment up in here. You just really here temporarily, quiet as it's kept. So there's no closing no door if I don't want a door closed. Now that might seem very harsh for a lot of people or whatever, but I was the mother of the house. I was the parent, not my child was running it.
Right. Well, see, and that's the thing. The kids think they're running the schools. They don't feel like the teachers and the principal, have to have any authority over them. And that's not good. And my daughter is paired with a male teacher, and the male teacher, he's very strict, and he's very, I don't think he necessarily yells at him, but I mean, he makes his point. This is not how you behave, whatever. My daughter is more like a mother figure to him. Mm-hmm. She'll still discipline him, and she'll still talk to him, but it's more of a womanly kind, So they share the kids, and it's almost like they're the mom and the dad. The kids will pull one thing with him that they would never pull on her, and vice versa. And so, like, if she has one acting up in her class, she'll say, that's it, go across the hall, tell Mr. Freeman you got to sit with him now, or whatever. And Mr. Freeman will send them over to her, if that's what they need to do. But they work so closely together with all the children that they pretty well know who's the troublemakers, who are the ones that, cause the trouble and all that. But
but my son says the thing is, it's hard to make kids take responsibility these days because, for one thing, you have parents that side with their children. Meaning, I'm not saying that adults don't do anything wrong, but what I'm saying is that they, before they even know the story, when they would call me from the school, because my son had a mouth, he talked a whole bunch just like his mama. And when they would call me or whatever, it wasn't that I was siding with anyone. I just wanted to know what the situation was, because so I could just kind of analyze what was really going on. They didn't understand me as a parent when he was in elementary school, because they had mothers coming up there going off the deep end at them if they said anything or did anything. I just wanted to know what the situation was and what happened. I never belittled my son or fussed at my son or anything in front of them. Now, when we got home, that was a whole nother story, because see, my dad did not play that.
Right.
You didn't do that. That was a disrespect to your parent if you got in trouble at school or what have you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, the younger ones, they kind of a little bit different the way they train the kids or whatever. But it's rough for a teacher. It's rough for them teachers out there.
So my daughter would always say, "Oh, please don't call my mama."
Yes.
Send me to the principal, do whatever, which my daughter was a straight A angel. But, you know, to her, if her mama had to come down there or something, then she knew she was going to be in trouble, because my dad didn't play that either. And so, of course, I didn't play it with her. But my thing was, when she was younger, at home, she would be all over the place, like hyper, running around, you know, getting into everything. She'd go to school and she'd sit in her desk and she'd do her work and she wouldn't talk and all that. And I couldn't believe that she could behave like that at school and be crazy at home, you know.
Mine was the opposite. And my son was fine.
I would ask him,
he was moving around too much.
You know, I would ask him, you know, are you sure she isn't a problem, like getting up, talking, doing this, doing that? Oh no, we hardly hear a peep out of her. But and I finally asked my pediatrician, because I'm like, it's like I had two kids. The good one went to school, the bad one stayed with me, you know. So my pediatrician said, she knows what she can do with you before she gets in trouble. She doesn't know for sure at school. So she's trying to be as good as she can be, because if she gets in trouble at school, she knows that's going to, you know, and it was more or less of she didn't want to disappoint me or upset me. It wasn't that she was afraid I was going to do something to her if she got in trouble. She just didn't want to, you know, let me down or whatever, I guess. But it was so true. And she was almost an introvert at school up until she was in middle school, probably. But at home, I thought she was hyperactive. You know, I didn't know what was wrong with the child, because she just was off the chain. But I could take her somewhere and she would behave, you know.
Yes.
But at home, it was almost like, okay, this is not my child. You know, like, did I get the wrong child when I picked her up today? You know.
And sometimes they feel like that's their safe space. I know as an adult now, my son says that when he recaps his childhood, you know, and stuff, you know, and he's thinking about his own son. He was like, our home was a safe place. You know, he didn't go out, and even when he was in middle school, he was into sports and we took him to all those activities and things like that. But I think maybe it was because I was an older mother. I wasn't having a whole bunch of kids come over my house, and especially wasn't having a whole bunch of boys come over and tear up stuff. Because then I tried to keep everything all a little pretty, you know, this and that. Yeah. Very rarely. And my son did not have, he had friends at school, but they didn't come rummage through my house.
Yeah.
And my son didn't go to other people's house either. I don't know. That was just, sometimes, you know, we're a product of our environment.
Yeah. Well, my daughter never really wanted, I mean, she had friends that would come around and stuff, but it was like she never wanted to go to somebody else's house, you know, which I probably didn't want her to go either. So it was probably her, but I really didn't want her to do that, you know, but I would have let her, I guess, if I had to, but I don't know. But it just really makes a difference when you see how the kids today are. And like you said, with the technology, I mean, I love technology. I mean, it
Yes.
does make our lives easier and it is wonderful. But there are a lot of things that have gone by the wayside that I don't think, what if something happens and nothing works, your computer doesn't work, you don't have internet or whatever, you still have to be able to do things.
Yep.
And I think that they're losing some of those skills that we
Absolutely.
have. Even my daughter, she'll say, I'll write something in cursive and she'll be like, I can't read that. And I'm like, yes, you can. You learn cursive.
Teaching them that in school.
Yeah, now they don't have to learn cursive at all.
Yep.
They really don't even have to print well.
Nope. You got to know how to type on the computer. Yep.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not right. They still should, have to do that. And like the whole thing about, using a phone book. They don't even know what a phone book is. Really and truly, I've never seen a phone book in the past 10 years. I don't know that they even make phone books. I know there aren't very many pay phones anymore.
Nope. And have an address book. Remember the address book made by the phone? So to be honest, I know my dad and my mom's phone numbers by heart, but to call any of my siblings or whatever, I don't know their phone by heart. I have to go to my contacts. So if my phone is shut down, I can get to my dad.
I mailed something out today to my ex and his wife from the grandbaby. And I had to go on my phone, go to my contact to get their address because I don't know the address, But if my phone wasn't working, then I just wouldn't have mailed them anything because I wouldn't have known, Same thing like with the GPS. Before I had GPS on my phone, I was scared to death really to go anywhere that I hadn't actually driven there before because I was afraid I would get lost. Now, put it in the GPS and I'm going. Doesn't matter if I've ever been there before or not. And even if I go somewhere that I'm relatively familiar with, but I find myself on a road that I'm like, this doesn't look familiar. I go on my GPS and I'm like, take me home.
Right.
It'll tell you exactly which way to go, to get yourself back home.
I don't even know if they sell city maps. You know how like at the 7-Elevens and little gas stations and stuff, and you could always get city maps because when we were kids, we took little road trips and stuff like that. I remember we had a station wagon and my mom and dad was in the front and my older brother was in the middle. And then it was 6 of us. And then the rest of us went back like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the big map was always open because that was one of the things that my dad was always teaching my brother how to read a map so we could get from point A, from this state to wherever we were going or what have you. I don't even know if kids can read a map because it's not necessary.
It's not necessary. You can just, you don't have GPS. I mean, what's wrong? I mean, there's and that's what's funny is when they tell you, well, you can get this Google Maps, you can get, like they know exactly what the apps are and what the programs are, for whatever it is you want to do. My friend had a little grandson and I would watch him sometimes and he was like 6 or 7, but he knew all about electronic stuff. And he would, go on my tablet and he would want to buy a game or something. And I would say, well, I don't know how you do that. And I don't think I have it set up, to buy a game or whatever. And he would say, well, you just do this and you do that. And then I knew exactly how to put the card in and everything, Yes. Like, oh my goodness, child.
Yes.
He knew all about it and he could handle it just like he was a grown person.
Yep. My grandson's always calling me if his dad says no, and then I can hear his dad in the background yelling, I told you no because he wants to buy something for his game or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he calls me and, Yaya means grandmother. That's how I became Yaya. Because I didn't want to be called any of the, grandmama, big mama, Nana. I didn't want any of those names. I wanted something different. So I just went and looked up different countries, what the name grandmother meant. and I
Okay.
saw Yaya, and I like Yaya, and that's German
Yeah.
for grandmother.
Okay.
So yeah, he always calls Yaya and Papa to buy him things for his game or whatever. So sometimes I have to tell my son, I'm not there anymore. That's okay if he calls. I know how to say no.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes he do run us in the ground with it, and then I have to think, don't feel bad because you're not there or whatever. You have to set
Right.
your boundaries, and then I'm like, no, I can't buy that for you today, this weekend or whatever. And I said maybe in a couple of weeks or whatever, and he'll say okay. Because he'll done me to death trying to buy something for them games.
Yeah. I don't like to hear my granddaughter cry or fuss, And so, especially when I'm watching her, if it's something I can do, I try to figure out what is it? Why is she fussing? Why is she crying? And I'll, try to give her whatever it is or do whatever it is she's wanting me to do. So when she started walking and, started getting into stuff or whatever, her mama would say, well, you can tell her no. And, you can, pick her up and take her away when she's getting into something or whatever, And I said, well, I know how to raise a child, but, I don't like to make her mad or make her fuss. So it's like
the pleasure of being a grandmother.
Yeah. I said, I try to do whatever I can so that she's not, unhappy or whatever. But I didn't spank my daughter. I didn't have to, and so I don't feel like we should have to spank her. And most of the time, what it is that it's something that we've deemed is off limits to her. But to her, it's just another toy. And she doesn't understand why she can't have it if she can have, the other toys. And I use that blue painter's tape and I tape stuff closed that I don't want her to get into. Well, she's smart enough. She'll go over there and she'll pick at that tape until she gets it loose. And then next thing you know, she'll come and give you the piece of tape. I got that off. It's like three more of them, but I done got one of them off there. It's like, but Granny doesn't want you getting into there. Don't get in there. Don't do that.
My son, yes, my son did get spankings, but now my grandson, no, we didn't spank him. He lived with us the first 5 years of his life. Then his mother had him, and he always wanted to come back. She was it's one of them situations, and then my son had him back for a few years, and then she did it again. And now he is old enough to speak what he wants.
Yeah.
And even though he's only 10, he is his father's child. And he's very articulate in saying what he wants. And so finally she made the phone call to my son and was like, we need to talk. And so she's like, I can't do it. And now he's fine. He was always such a good child, but he just started acting out because he didn't want to be there. He wasn't happy and he did not want to be there. And she's not mother material. But now he's with his dad and he got him transferred to the school where my son teaches at. So they're, able to be together. And he's like, he tells my son, he says, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy. This is what, he's like, well, you need to go and visit your mother. Your mother wants you to come visit this weekend. And I know he's 10. And I said, well, you need to try to teach him that he needs to go visit her. And he says, I try. And he says, no, he does not want to.
Well,
says, I live with you.
He knows, he's old enough to make that choice, I think. And, when he's grown, he may look at her differently and he may want to have a relationship with her.
Yeah.
But
he tells her that he tells her that too. He's like, I know I don't want to go. And she's like, no, you need to come and spend time with your mom or whatever. And he says, no, I live with my dad now.
Yeah.
But they, they'll get it all figured out.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes kids they don't want to hurt the other parent either. Like like he doesn't want to disrespect his dad, even though his dad is telling him it's okay to go. In his mind it might be, but no, I chose to live with you, so I shouldn't even go over there.
No, she's one of those situations that you wouldn't want your child to go there.
He just knows better. He doesn't want to.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Well, then it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
He doesn't go.
But anyway, I am in a community that tomorrow, well, it starts midnight tonight. They have been having once a month hypathons.
Yeah, I saw the post, but I didn't understand what it was.
Which I'm going to send to you a couple people's names that I just want to give to you, that they have channels that they are motivators. And what they do is, one lady, her name is Miss T with the T, T-E-A. And she comes on for Coffee and Conversations Monday through Fridays. Usually she's on about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It just depends on how the conversations are going in the chat. And what she does is she helps channels to grow and help people to connect with each other. So the people that are in the chat, they talk about their channels and stuff like that. And so other people kind of say, oh, well, that sounds interesting. And then they go and check that channel out. Then there's another man. He comes on in the evenings after work at 5:15. Motivation from the Weightlifting Geek. And he does the same thing. And so people interact. Anyway, they have collabed together with some other people. And they once a month have these hypathons. And it's an opportunity you can sign up. I did it. I've done it a couple times. I took a couple months off. But my husband and I, we have a spot starting tomorrow. It starts midnight tonight to midnight Saturday night. 12 a.m. in this Saturday morning to midnight Saturday night. And people sign up for hour slots. So there's 24 people. So they get to showcase their channel. You can do whatever, talk about whatever. You can talk best about your channel. You can just talk to the people in the chat. You can cook, whatever your niche is. There's crafters, there's gardeners.
Oh, wow. That sounds like fun.
So tomorrow we're cooking brunch.
And you say it's called, what is it called? Hypa, Hypa,
thon, THON, hypathon. Okay. It's on my community tab.
Yeah. I'm going to definitely check it out. I saw the post and saw that you'd be on there at lunchtime, but I didn't know what it was all about. But I'll definitely check that out. That's interesting.
Yeah. So the first time I did it, I had my son on, basically interviewing him. So for an hour, we just talked, and it was for my subscribers to get to know me better from his perspective.
His perspective, yeah.
I don't know how good that was, but and then the next time I had a 2-hour slot, and that was 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning, and that was for a grown folks conversation.
Okay.
So you can about imagine that one. Mm-hmm. But we had a good time. We had a good time on that one. But this time, my husband and I, we're gonna do some healthy cooking tomorrow from 12 to 1.
Okay, 12 to 1. I will definitely try to watch that too.
So
good. But I'm not trying to, get a big channel or get monetized or anything like that. I just want, to have provide the space for people to get together, and learn from each other about retirement and life in general. I think a lot of people, when they get monetized, then it changes them somehow. You still have to be nice to your subscribers, and you still have to make those connections with the subscribers. And again, mostly from the true crime community. But once they get up there with so many subs and get monetized, then it somehow it becomes about money, that, they want you just to give them money or whatever. And, that's all fine and good. If you've got money to do that and you want to support people's channels, that's wonderful. But if you don't have money, you shouldn't be made to feel like I don't care about you because you can't give me money.
And you're not getting paid all that much from YouTube. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm monetized. But it's pennies on the dollar because YouTube gets their cut. So even when you have like the join button and people and stuff like that, or people give you super chats and stuff like that, YouTube is taking a big percentage of that.
Right.
And
they take it off your memberships too, right?
Yeah, and the memberships. You get paid, they monthly memberships, people that join your memberships.
Mm-hmm.
But I say, and for me, if you're on YouTube, it's for me to give something back.
Yeah.
Now, if I can get some, if I'm gonna get paid, if YouTube is getting paid, and I get to the point where like now, I get a little bit, a piece of a check, but it ain't nothing that can live off of.
Right. Right.
My deal is when I go in my comments, I pretty much, sometimes my comments can get overwhelming and I'll heart it. But for the most part, I'm talking to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they're saying to me, we talking back and forth,
Right.
Not back and forth, but if they make a comment about my video, then I'm responding to them and thanking them for them making that comment. And especially this month, since I've been on my health and wellness, I noticed people really are liking my videos of me showing the different stuff that I'm cooking for myself, and me going to exercise in the morning, and they are cheering me on and saying, yeah, you got this, you can do this, giving me this.
Right. And it also gives them the motivation to do it as well.
Exactly.
Because they see you doing it and they think, well, if she can do it, I can do it too. And I love the cooking part of it because, like I said something about the mushrooms. I love mushrooms, but I had never thought about using them as the meat replacement.
Mm-hmm.
But that makes perfect sense because they will take on whatever flavor you give them.
I'm having fun. I am really having fun creating different little stuff and then just kind of telling people about it. And you know what? If it's meant to be, and I've always been like this, if something is meant to be, it's going to be, or whatever. It's what you have behind it. It's your goodness that you're putting out there. You know what I'm saying? If you put negativity out there, then I feel like that's what you're going to get back is negativity. If I'm doing something because I just want to put it out there, I'm leaving this so when I'm gone, my son and my grandson will look back on it and give them something positive to look at. Because once you put something out on YouTube, it's going to be out there, like all the old movies and all that. Now, I might be sitting up on a shelf somewhere, but every now and then somebody's going to dig out Yaya's Best Life and they go see a little something. So, you know what I mean?
And I think too, you have to do what is right for you, because if you're not, people can tell if you're putting on a front, and you're trying, I'm this and I'm that or whatever. No, people can tell right away who you are. And I don't like fake people like that, and most people don't either. Most people want somebody who, if they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. And like I said, all the stuff I put out is stuff that I'm like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Or, let me look into that or whatever. And just like I just did a video today of my friends went on an 8-day cruise to the Caribbean. And she had put the pictures on Facebook. And so I contacted her and I was like, and this is somebody I went to like elementary school with. And I said, that looks like y'all had a really good time. And I probably will never go there, So to me, I want to share that with everybody, because not everybody's able to go on vacations like that. So will you let me use your photos, and I'll put together a video and then everybody can see it, And at first she was kind of like, well, can you send me the video first? Make sure. I said, well, I won't put any people in it. I won't, tell anybody who you are. It would be very confidential or what have you. But it'll be the scenery and the pictures of where they went and everything. So I made the video. She was like, immediately, go ahead, share it. I love it. Go ahead, And I was like, well, thank you so much, because I had so much fun making the video and then being able to share the video.
I have to make sure to watch that. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 8-day cruise is what it's called.
Okay.
But I went on a 7-day cruise for my 10th wedding anniversary way back when, and I thoroughly enjoyed going on a cruise. Mm-hmm. And this was their 13th cruise. So they are like professional cruisers.
I've been on a bunch of cruises too. That was during that time before I had my son.
Yeah. And I said, to me, that was just because there's always so much going on the ship anyway to do. And then you have all the different places to stop and go sightseeing, whatever. So it was really fun. But that's the kind of videos I like to do, where it's something that you're not going to find it anywhere else, because these are pictures they took of their experience, And
there's a cruise community out there too.
Is there really?
Mm-hmm.
See, there's something for everybody, really. Yeah. No matter what your likes or dislikes are, you can find a home somewhere out there.
Yeah.
So, but I've been really having a lot of fun going to other people's channels and just kind of, seeing what's out there and what people are doing, because it's very easy for me at least, to think, I like true crime, but I don't like all the drama. So if I'm not comfortable there, I don't necessarily want to just have that be the only place I can go. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to go other places and then find places where I am more comfortable. And I feel like I can be myself and not have to worry, somebody going to come after me and make a comment or whatever,
Right.
Which somebody told me the other day, there's drama in every community.
Yes.
There's jealous people and there's ugly people, and, so no matter where you go, you may face that, but I don't think it'll be quite the same.
I just find people that I like in health and in beauty and in plant-based community. I was watching a video before I came on here or whatever, and I'm like, oh, because I done started kind of putting myself out there to look at more healthier eating, and just do my research. I want to see plant-based really, really, truly is. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe everything that everybody says. So I have to go out there and just kind of find a number of it. Just like if you're going out to get a quote on something, you just look at several different videos, some from doctors, some from people, and then you just kind of have the common sense to know you can put a field together what's good and what's not good or whatever.
Right.
So
one of my subscribers, always loyal, she had celiac disease, and she was going to all these different doctors, and she was having so much inflammation and just so much trouble, and it was like she wasn't getting the help she needed, and she decided she would just not eat anything for like 2 days. And then she slowly started reintroducing things and to see, like if she had a reaction to it or if it made her feel a certain kind of way or whatever, and figured out what was wrong, that she needed to go gluten free, but also certain fruits and vegetables are less inflammatory than others. And I'm diabetic. And so it's like, it's interesting to me that even though I don't have a gluten intolerance or anything, I do suffer with inflammation because of the diabetes. So some of the stuff that she's doing will help me as well, even though it's not exactly the same.
Yes.
But it's enough of taking your health into your own hands and seeing what will do what for you instead of just relying on the doctor and medication. Sometimes you have to really search out and find out, you know.
Yes. You have to know your own body. Everybody's body is different. Like you said, your situations, but the inflammation, there's some standardization there that of how to certain foods that we can eat that helps remove that inflammation.
Right.
Since you see, what is this? Day 10, since I've been on my thing, and I have high blood pressure. I had it for years, been on medicine. I can start now to see my hand, they feel so much better. You can tell
Right.
the inflammation is
right.
reducing
The
in your body.
inflammation, exactly.
Yes.
And that's one thing, like she was even telling me, because I like oatmeal and I want to do the overnight oats, where you put like yogurt and milk and fruit and whatever.
Yes.
And make the overnight oatmeal in the refrigerator. Well, she was telling me that, there's like 3 or 4 different spices you can put in there that will make it anti-inflammatory, and I never knew that. Nobody ever told me, certain things, like you should be eating certain things to help with it.
Yes.
And it's like, but I already like the overnight oats. So how easy is that? Just to add in, that and still be able to have. I think a lot of people think like when you go plant-based or you go gluten-free that you're not going to be able to eat anything that you like, that everything is going to be bland and have no flavor, and that's not what they want to do. But really, I think it's that we're so used to fried foods.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's what, if you don't get that grease from the fried foods, you think you're not getting any flavor.
If you use the natural herbs, they all have flavor in them.
Yeah.
And don't use salty stuff type of seasonings. I use garlic powder. All my stuff is powdered. Garlic powder, onion powder. And that's like today, what I fixed, I did buy me some of that plant-based. It's plant-based, but meat. They call it beef, but it's not a meat product. It's plants that they done made it look like it's meat.
Right.
And so I cooked it the way it said to cook it and everything. And I was gonna have it with my veggies. And I tasted it before I put anything extra in it. And I can eat bland stuff. It doesn't really bother me, but it was bland tasting because it's just vegetables. Okay.
Right.
Well, then I put me some garlic powder on it and some pepper. And sometimes I'll use a pinch of salt. I didn't use a pinch of salt today, but sometimes I will in certain stuff. That put just the flavor I needed. And then I had my my onions and my spinach and my zucchini and my mushrooms that I had chopped up. Then I put that little meat on the side, put my little red tomatoes on there, put my red peppers on there, and it looked all pretty. The colors looked all pretty, and I chomped down on that. It was good.
I mean, it really is. It's a mind thing. You have to want to do it, and you have to enjoy your food. I mean, you're not going to stick to anything if you feel like you're eating cardboard and it's not satisfying you, and you feel hungry and like you're being deprived of something. That's not going to work.
But you got to learn what flavors to start kind of putting together in a healthy manner, and you have to have your why. You got to have, why am I doing this? And you got to stick to your why. If you have your why, my why is I want longevity. I want to see my grandson get grown. I might be older, but I want to be, if he gets married, you know what I'm saying, or whatever.
Right.
You have to have a why, and you have to stick to your why. And that's what, when you wake up every day and you think about your why, keeps you going.
Yeah.
I've tried it many, many times. I don't know why this time I'm like really thrilled and so excited about it, but something happened in my mind or whatever. And it's like, I don't think about eating any meat. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to ever have a piece of chicken ever again in life. But what I'm saying right now, this journey that I'm on, I'm saying 31 days for the month of March. I just don't see myself not continuing because for some reason, I don't have that craving. For one thing, because I found out about some natural teas that you can make. And for me, I'm just saying for me, y'all, I truly believe that has changed my palate.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, just getting rid of the grease and the salt will change.
And I don't have that craving for any of that. Clove and cinnamon, I did not know. Clove and cinnamon, I make that tea. I sit here and I drink it throughout the day. And I really truly believe that's what's changed my palate, because I just don't. My husband, I still cook for him. You know, if he cook his own food, but I cook for him. Like we had Taco Tuesday. I made his tacos with the hamburger meat, what he wanted. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I can get him to eat turkey meat because I be trying to get him off of stuff, but he loves to have what he wants. I made that, and I made my mushroom tacos and veggies.
I find with my diabetes that I will eat things. I don't eat like a sit down regular meal, more or less, but like this morning, I don't know why, but I wanted an apple and a cucumber. So I peeled them and I sliced them up. And while I sat here on the computer, I ate the apples and the cucumbers. And it wasn't until that was like at about 8:00 this morning, 8:30. And it wasn't until like 4:00 this afternoon that it dawned on me, you didn't eat any lunch. All you've had is an apple and a cucumber, but I did not feel hungry.
Yes.
I felt, okay, that's what I wanted. That's what I ate. But I will keep vegetables and fruit on hand.
Yes.
And like I bought what's it called? An acorn squash. Mm-hmm. Now, when I was a kid, my mom would cut it in half or sometimes in fourths, clean it out, and then she would put, I want to say butter and brown sugar, but I'm not exactly sure, but some kind of spice in there. And she would put them under the broiler.
Yes.
And it was so good. But I had not thought about an acorn squash in so long. And then when I was at the grocery store, I saw them and I was like, I have got to get me one, and try that. And the checkout guy, he was like, I don't think I've ever seen an acorn squash before, because he didn't know what it was, And I'm like, yeah. And they used to be really good, but I haven't eaten one in probably 40 years,
Same with me. I got a video on one I made.
Did you?
Yes.
So what did you put in yours?
I think it was a vegan recipe. Somehow, I think I used it for spaghetti. So I hold out the thing, and I made and then with the filling of it, that's what I made the bolognese, is what the vegan bolognese, and that's spaghetti. So I put that in it. So it was cute in the hull. And plus the ingredients that I used was all healthy ingredients. And my husband, he picked on it. And in that video, you'll crack up laughing because, girl, he ain't ate nothing during that video or whatever. So everybody was commenting, they know how he is or whatever. He's like, no, I'm not going to eat any of your vegan stuff. He just point blank. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. I said, okay. So I left him alone about eating the stuff.
But I'm just really into trying different recipes, and I guess because it's only making it for myself, I can experiment however I want to or whatever I want to do, Yeah. So I like that. I like doing that kind of thing.
You know what? I have had a wonderful, wonderful time. I don't want to cut out early, but I got to get me a little bit of sleep because I'm going to wake up at midnight to try to catch a couple of those and then get me a nap. And then my husband, he works nights, so he comes in at about 3 a.m.
Oh, Lord.
So I can watch a couple shows starting out, and then by the time he comes, we can get a few hours of sleep, and then we got to get up and I like to have everything all nice and organized. So
yeah, especially when you do cooking videos. I haven't got the nerve yet to try that. It'd be like my luck. I'll drop something or spill something, and people be like, "She don't know what she's doing."
I'm still working on getting it. I watch other people, and it's like they just got the technique down all good. But I finally learned that, you know what? Just relax, and hey, y'all just be y'all. Do it how you do it, or whatever.
That's
You know.
right. That's right.
But
Well, Miss Carla, thank you so much for coming. I have
you.
thoroughly enjoyed getting to know you a little bit better.
You as
And please
well.
you send me those
Yes.
people's links or whatever. And I will continue watching your journey, and I know you're going to do good.
Thank you. Thank you. I will continue watching you. Thank you, everyone in the chat. It's been a pleasure to meet all of you guys. And I really thank you for asking me to come and visit with you. So, you know.
And you might get a subscriber or two. I put your link in there. So
Well, thank you.
hopefully you will.
And I will return the favor and go and check out the channels as well. So if I go to your about, do you have an email address in there?
I do.
Okay. So I'll send you an email.
Okay.
Are you on Instagram?
No.
Okay. All right. I'll send you an email.
No. Okay. That'd be great.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
That was so much fun. Gosh, it's amazing how much you'll have in common with somebody. You don't even know till you start talking to them. You know, you really don't. I really, really enjoyed that. And I'm so glad that y'all came and hung in there with us. PJ says I can replace the brown sugar for honey. I think honey is I think Always was trying to tell me that too, like in those donuts she made, that I could replace the sugar with the honey. The honey must not raise your blood sugar as high. You keep falling asleep, Savannah. Is that you trying to say we were boring you, dear? I hope not. So if y'all haven't watched the cruise video, make sure you take a look at it. It is a little long. It's like a little over 5 minutes long, but it's very, very nice. They took some beautiful pictures. Oh, you've had a bad headache? Those are not fun. Okay, good. And you need to send me that what you were saying I need to put in my oats, my overnight oats, because I want to do that. I definitely need the anti-inflammation stuff. Oh, I think my phone has died. Thank you, PJ. Whoops. I don't know if Norma's still in there or not, in here or not, but we are going to try to do bingo Sunday afternoon. Oh, she is good. And we're going to try to do bingo on Real Life Happens channel at 4:00 on Sunday. And I went in and was able to pull up the bingo game that KK uses. And so we'll be able to do that. It's not hard to use at all. So if any of you want to play bingo with us on Real Life Happens at 4:00 on Sunday afternoon. And we're going to see how it goes. We might start making that a regular thing if people like it and people want to come and do it. And I had said if we got a big enough crowd, I would do a giveaway tonight, but we didn't actually get very big of a crowd. And item I wanted to give away I can't find. So I did find something else that I was going to use in its place. But I think, oh, how is purple's going to go? Is it going to be bad? I really can't. I just can't do it. I mean, I go over and I say hello to people and I try to stay as long as I can, but it's it's draining and aggravating for me, especially when people are picking on her. Turmeric and ginger powder. Okay, let me write that down. Um, and I almost bought a piece of ginger when I was at the store. And ginger powder. I'm pretty sure that the turmeric, might be turmeric, is supposed to be good for your blood sugar too. Oh, really? Because ginger is supposed to help like with stomach problems. Yes, peel the ginger root and put into hot water with lemon and honey in the morning. Okay, hot water, ginger, lemon. You take turmeric for pain. That might help my back. I do put lemon juice in my water too. Y'all like my frizzy hair? I took a shower when I got home from the Y and I got busy and I didn't brush it. So now it's trying to curl a little bit. Well, I will definitely have to try that. You get it like in a capsule form, Savannah? Okay, I'll look for that in a vitamin also. And so I need fresh ginger and fresh lemon. Okay. Got it. Oh, I can't believe I let my phone die. Garden of Life Organic. You have to buy those online or you get them at the store? On Amazon. Okay. Okay. Yes, see, I have a 68 or $60 credit thing I can use at Walmart to buy over the counter stuff, and that's how I've been getting the vitamins and stuff that I've been taking. But I'll check it out on Amazon if it's good, you know. Oh, there it's coming back on. So I was able to get the jump drive cleared off of all my daughter's old stuff so that I could um, I got all kinds of things on here. Okay, this is the book, Anti-Inflammatory Diet for Beginners. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Okay, good, Savannah. I just got the email. I'm glad you got that information. Okay. Well, y'all, I have enjoyed it so much. I don't know what else is going on tonight. Yes, I did get it. Okay. We've got Jenna's on. Okay. Tomorrow night, I have the Talent Craft Showcase at 8 o'clock. I do have a special guest lined up for that. And I also have a couple other little things to do. So hopefully you will join us for that. Oh, yes, I take B12 as well. I have to take calcium, D3, B12, iron. I'm taking biotin for my nails and hair. And I just started taking melatonin to help me go to sleep at night. And I take a multivitamin, like a Centrum Women's Over 50 vitamin every day. And I have umpteen medications I take. So I got to go to a steak dinner at Longhorn Steakhouse Tuesday night. Friends of my daughter's came by to visit with my daughter and the baby, and they wanted to go out to dinner. And so my daughter treated me so nice. And we went and I had steak and baked potato and rolls and blooming onion. And it was so good. So, so good. So that was fun on Tuesday. Wednesday night is the night that the baby spent the night because she took too late of a nap. And then I was like, well, just let her stay. And I stayed up late with her. And her mama came and got her on Thursday afternoon. And I went back and picked her up this morning. And then I took her back to her mama's this afternoon. And I went to the Y and I did the hot tub. And that was fun. And I need to look up about a camera, like a webcam, I guess it's called. See if I can use that, if it'll make this picture better. Norma, what you gonna make a video for the bingo? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, I know, Savannah. Oh, okay. About for the bingo? Okay. I had to force myself yesterday to go and get stuff. After I have that baby girl all week, by Friday night, I'm tired. One of my friends from my church when I was a teenager, her daddy just passed away. It's so sad. I know exactly how she's feeling. It's heartbreaking. Oh, wow. Now I gotta quit. I gotta quit reading about stuff. I don't know if y'all remember me saying about my ex's wife's sister-in-law that had the flying squirrel that she had found out in the outside. He'd fallen out of his nest, and they raised him for a baby, and they had him for 10 years. And he passed away. She said Rocky Squirrel Boy was a joy to have as a pet for over 10 years. Tonight we say goodbye to our little buddy. He lived a good life and was content to hang around on us in our shirts or just sitting in our hand. He would scoot around, jumping and climbing the furniture and walls. He had his favorite hiding place up in the corner where he would often settle in for a nap, causing us to search for him a little longer. Most everybody loved to hold him if he would sit still long enough. Squirrel Boy was fun, and he loved to elude the capture to go back home in his cage. I would manage to trick him to go inside my little Debbie box trap. Then no one else could, when no one else could. A pecan does the trick every time. We are so sad, and we are truly going to miss our little friend. Rest in peace, Rocky Squirrel Boy, 2013 to 2023. Aww. Aww. I'm going to have to make a video. I'm going to have to make a video of poor little Rocky boy. Okay. Okay. I sent her a message. Oh, so sad. Condolences to poor little squirrel boy, Rocky. When I was there for New Year's Day dinner, we had the greens and the pea things and all of that for wealth, health, and happiness for the new year and everything. And I stood there and watched him in his cage, and she told me all about how they found him. And being that he was, a wild animal, they had to really be careful what they fed him. And they would, she did a lot of research to take care of him properly. Okay, Miss Norma, good night, sweetheart. And yes, I hope everybody will be back here tomorrow night and then Sunday afternoon for the bingo. I guess I'll go ahead and get off too. Thank you all who came and who stayed with me. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to y'all. And I will be back on at 8 o'clock tomorrow night for some crafts and talents. And I have, like I said, I have a special guest lined up for that and a couple of other things to share. So we will see you then. All right. Good night, y'all.